Welcome to Allstacks. In today's video, we will be reviewing the mechanics of the metric page and specifically an example using the issue cycle time metric. Though we're using cycle time in this example, all of our metrics follow similar patterns and rule sets. The first thing to note when visiting the metric page is that most of our metrics have different default views. You can find these additional views by clicking the title of the metric in the top middle of the page. When viewing the metric page, note that everything at the top is a filter, and it also lets you know how each filter relates to the work or the base data of the metric. For example, with cycle time, this is specifically looking at issues close between the date range that we have selected here in the date selector. Note that when picking dates, you can pick fixed dates by either using the calendar, or you can pick trailing dates by using the presets on the leftmost side. The descendants of picker will actually filter the base data of the metric based on any parent that you select, such as a Jira or Azure projects, release, sprints, or initiatives. Every metric interacts with individual contributors differently. In the case of cycle time, it's based on the issues assigned to individuals in your team. You can also filter on tags created in contributor management. For example, if I decide to just look at an individual cycle time, I could scroll down and select one of my developers below and select Update. Advanced filters allows you to pick individual properties to filter the base data on. For example, I could filter based on issue type, creating a metric view where I'm only looking at the cycle time for stories. Selecting the Update button will apply any of the filter changes made at the top of the page. Selecting Reset will bring you back to the initial configuration of the metric. If the options at the top of the page are related to the data being returned to the metric, everything within chart settings changes the visualization and grouping of data to tell the story you want to display. You can change the visualization type by clicking the Using A option menu. For example, I can change this from a bar chart to a heat map or a grouped column. Selecting the series allows you to group the data differently. For example, instead of picking the regular service type coming from Jira in our instance, I'm able to pick something like issue type. And you're also able to change the grouping of the time axis. For example, instead of looking at this data weekly, perhaps I'd like to look it up monthly. You click the time dropdown, select the grouping option, and change to month. Once you've changed the options you'd like, you can update the visualization by clicking the Apply button at the bottom of the menu. We are now looking at the average cycle times of the individual issue types month over month. If you double-click an item in the legend, it will isolate in the visualization. And if you click on an individual visual component in the graph, it will bring you to the table below where you can see the source data. For example, now you're seeing the individual stories that created the cycle time in the month of March. And clicking the individual row will bring up the item details panel where you can see more information about that particular individual item. And if you'd like to, clicking the external link button will bring you into your source tool. Once you've created a visualization that you'd like to share or save, there are two icons that you should be aware of. The first is the external link icon in the top right of the page. This will create a one-time persistent link of the metric visualization that you just created, which can be shared with anybody in your organization or your Allstacks representatives. Utilizing this link will bring you to this page with all of the filters and chart settings that you have just applied. If you decide that you like a visualization and you would like it saved to a dashboard, click the plus icon. This will give you the option to save either the full metric view. Certain metrics have smaller card-based visualizations. You can change the date range if you so desire, rename the metric. For example, this is now the cycle time of our subtasks. From here, click Continue and then choose the destination that you'd like to have it saved. If you'd like to create a net new dashboard from this location, click the New Team dashboard at the bottom. If you select Add to Dashboard, a green model will appear at the top of the page, letting you know that your selection was successful. From here, you can navigate to dashboards on the leftmost side to review your metrics. Though we were looking at issues cycle time today, these general rules also apply to all metrics, including those utilizing pull requests, cards, and commit data.